So today's session is how to tidy your desktop. So we're just going to walk you through how to do that on a Mac. So as you can see, my desktop isn't the messiest right now, and that is because I have actually hidden all of my messy folders in one of the folders on my screen. But if your desktop was messy, then this would really help you to clean that up. So the first thing I'm going to show you is that if you're using your computer, you can always just, whenever you create a new folder, you on a Mac, you'll either right click or click with two fingers to open up the menu, and you'll have an option to create a new folder. And so you might want to create a folder to store all of your Zoom backgrounds. So as you can tell, the folder was created where my mouse was when I decided to create the folder. So that can get pretty messy over time. So if you want to clean that up, you can either manually move your folders around, or you can right click again on the screen and either choose to sort or to clean up or to clean up by a specific value. So sorting means that at all times, the folders will be sorted in that arrangement. So you won't be able to move the folders yourself or your files around your screen. So I like to just use clean up. So I'll just clean it up by the last time I modified something on my screen. So what will happen is on the right side of my screen, you'll see a stacked list of folders ranging from the last time I modified it, which was Zoom backgrounds is my newest folder, and my oldest folder will show up at the bottom. So let's just do that. So right click, clean up by, and then date modified. So you can see here, Zoom backgrounds was the folder that I created most recently, and then my older files are on the right side of the screen. Now, if I were to create another folder, it would just again appear here randomly. But if I wanted to permanently sort by the last date I modified, I would just click the sort option. And as you can see, it was automatically moved. And if I create another folder again, it just creates it and maintains that order. So it really depends on what you want. So I don't like that. So I'm just going to disable it and delete these folders. So the next thing that I want to show you is how you can add a file or a photo to your desktop. So I showed you how to create a folder, which is helpful for organizing, but let's say you want to find a Zoom background. So I'm just going to open up my browser, which I've opened it up from my dock at the bottom of my screen, which I'll talk about a little bit later. And I'll just search for Zoom backgrounds. So I'm in the image section of Google, and I'm just going to click on any of these images, right click on one of them, and then click Save Image As. And I have the option to save it in a bunch of places, but I want to save it on my desktop, and I want to save it in my folder called Zoom Background. So I'm just left clicking, and at the end, I will just click the blue Save button at the bottom right of the screen. And it just shows up in my Zoom Backgrounds folder. I just double clicked to open it there. And so every photo that you add will show up in this folder. Now, I downloaded it from the internet. So the internet, the name that the internet gave it was Zoom BG2 Office View -JPEG, which is an okay name. But let's say I wanted to change the name. I can just right click again on the image. A menu pops up. I click rename, and it takes me to this section that's highlighted on the screen on the right side that says Zoom BG2 Office View. So I can just change that to anything. My first Zoom background. And press enter, and then it's saved with the new name. Now, if I wanted to delete it, again, I could right click, the menu pops up, and there's a move to trash option. Or if you'd like to permanently delete it, which I don't recommend, but if you do want to permanently delete a file, you can always click the Command key on your keyboard followed by the delete key. And what that does is it permanently deletes the file, so you can't get it back from your trash. So I highly recommend not doing that. So let me just go back to the internet and find another photo. And I'll just save it the same way. So again, we're right-clicking, saving image. We're in the right folder here, but if we weren't, we would go to the left menu, click on desktop, click on Zoom backgrounds, and then click on the save button on the bottom right. All right. And let's just confirm that it's in there. It is not in there, which means that I did not complete the save process. Try that one more time. Save, Zoom backgrounds, save. Oh, okay. So you can see at the bottom here, it says failed due to a download error. So sometimes that happens. So I'm just going to download the same one that I know works. And it shows up as successful down here in the bottom of my browser, so I know that it was successful. And it's back in my folder. Great. Okay, so I showed you short sorting. I showed you how to move around and delete and rename folders and files on your desktop. I'm going to show you screenshotting. So let's say you're in a Zoom room and let's say you're in a Zoom room and you want to capture something in the chat. So you should be able to see the chat. So if I click Command Shift and 5, that brings up the screen capture window. So it also brings up this square, so I can use it to resize and capture the chat. And at the bottom, I have a few options. So by default, it will open it in the preview app, which is great, or I can have it saved to desktop immediately. So I'm going to click on desktop and click capture. Does this work on an iPad? It will be different on an iPad because you don't have, like the iPad functions a little bit differently than a desktop would, but you should be able to do most of these things on an iPad as well. So since I selected desktop, the screen capture saved automatically to my desktop. You can see it here. I double click to open it and you can see that. So that's how you would create a screenshot. And to organize it, I would just take my screenshot and I would move it into a folder. So let's say I have this folder for cyber seniors. I would just click, drag, and drop it. Click, drag, drop. And then it's organized in my cyber seniors folder, which I will now rename to cyber seniors screenshots. So show view options. So this is just helpful for making things more readable. So you can change the text size of all of the icons on your screen, which I've already done. I've made it 16, which is the largest font size. I could make it 10, which is quite tiny, and you can't really see what it says. You can also change the actual icon size. So if you want it to be a little bit bigger for your eyes, you can do that. And you can also change the spacing, which is more of a visual thing. I don't tend to play around with it. So I right click on my desktop, or with 2 fingers, I click if I'm using a touchpad. So either right click with a mouse or 2-finger click with a touchpad. And this helpful menu comes up. And one of the options is view options. So now that it's open, it says hide view options, but when it's closed, it says show view options. And when you click on it, left click or click with 1 finger, it pops up. So for the dock, so you can see here that I also have a dock with a bunch of different apps. And on the left side, you can see these little lines, right? So on the left side of this middle line are all of the applications that are always in my dock. And in the middle here are applications that I've opened, but aren't permanently in my dock. So that means that when I start my computer, or if I close the application, then it will just disappear. But let's say I wanted it, and if I wanted to bring it up, then I would either have to go to my launch pad, which is this little rocket icon, this gray rocket icon, and I'd have to find it and then open it up. So here's Microsoft Word. I could find it here and open it up. Or let's quit it again. My favorite thing to do is use Spotlight. So that would be Command and the space key. And then that just brings up a search, and you can just search your entire computer for Microsoft Word. And it's the first option. And then I would just click on it. Again, left click or single click or press return, one of the two. And then it opens up. So that's how you handle your dock. So if I wanted it to permanently be on my dock so that I don't have to search for it, I can right click on the icon, and then I can click on options, and then I can click on keep in dock. So what that means is that even when I close the Word application, the icon will always be there. So I can just open it up from here, which is really handy. I do that for Zoom because I use Zoom all the time. The other thing is minimizing and maximizing tabs. So let's see. I'll just open up a Chrome browser because that's easy. So on Mac, there are always these three icons that show up in most windows, and it's red, yellow, and green. So yellow has a horizontal line, and that means minimize. The green is for switching between full screen and not full screen. So if I click it, you can see it takes up the whole screen. And if I move my mouse up to the top of the screen so that everything shows up again, I can click it again and it no longer takes up all of my screen. And if I wanted to get rid of it, I could just click the red icon on the left, which has an X. Okay, so the last couple of things I'm going to go through are the menu bars at the top. So the menu bars, as you can see, they change depending on what you have open. So if I don't have anything open and I left click on my desktop, then the default menu bar is Finder and a bunch of things related to Finder, which is interesting because this is the Finder app here. So all of these menu options are specific to Finder. So the Apple icon is always there, and it gives you information about your computer as a whole. So if you had a frozen application or if you were finding it difficult to navigate, you can always click force quit. And then force quit gives you the option to manually quit everything from here if it's frozen and you can't do anything. So that's really handy. The other stuff is also handy, but I won't go through them today. Actually, I will also go through about this Mac. So if someone's trying to help you with your device, it kind of helps to know what version of everything that you're using. So about your Mac will give you all of that information so you can share it with them. So that's pretty handy. The other things I'll go through that are handy are Wi-Fi. So the Wi-Fi symbol is always this kind of rainbow that's in the shape of a pizza slice. So you can always click it here, join a network, create a network, or open a network. And you'll know which one you're connected to because there's a checkbox next to it. What else? Battery. So I am currently plugged in. I unplug it, will be battery. Okay, there we go. So you can see when I unplugged my charger, this Thunderbolt disappeared. So I'll do it again. And when I plug it back in, the Thunderbolt reappears. So that tells you your battery level. There's also text here that says what percentage charge you have. And you can also edit your energy saver preferences. Bluetooth. Now, Bluetooth is usually up here as well. But again, when I can't find something, I usually just go to Spotlight and I will just type in Bluetooth. And Bluetooth, this takes some practice, but Bluetooth is this blue icon that looks kind of like a bee, and it's under system preferences. And I will just click on that, and it opens all of the devices that I can connect to, and I can turn it off or I can turn it back on. Siri. So Siri looks the same on all Apple devices. It's this otherworldly pink, purple, blue, white little icon. And you can always click on Siri and tell Siri what you want to have happen. And it will essentially use Spotlight to find things on your device. Spotlight, again, is Command Space. So changing your desktop screensaver. So again, I'm on my desktop. I either click with 2 fingers or I right click with my mouse, and that brings up the menu, and I click the desktop and screensaver option. So you can see at the top, there's 2 options, desktop and screensaver. Currently I'm in the desktop window. You can tell because it's blue and highlighted. And if I click on screensaver, it will focus on the screensaver. And here are all of the built-in options for screensavers, tons of fun options here. And I believe it changes automatically. You don't need to save anything. So if you were to pick a different one and close the window, then it would apply the next time you locked your device. I can't demonstrate that because if I lock my device, I think Zoom will also pause. You can modify it. You can show the time with your screensaver, or you can just pick a random one at all times. You can do a lot of fun stuff with it. Change the colors. You can also, again, pick your own photo. So you can choose a folder for the source for your screensavers. So I'll just go back to desktop on the left there, click on Zoom backgrounds, and if you wanted to, it would have to be the right file type. So JPEG is not the right file type because it has to be a video. Then you'd be able to select it here and click choose. And again, with desktop pictures, you can do the same thing. So right now, I have it set to the default, which is really neat. It's set to dynamic, so that means that in the morning, it will show a daytime view of this really pretty rocky view. And at nighttime, it will turn dark. So I can set it so that it's always dark, or I can set it so that it's always light. But I prefer to have it dynamic because it's pretty cool. It tells me what time of day it is, and I work on my computer a lot, so I quite like that. Let me just show you quickly again how to change your desktop background before I hand it off to Kiana. So if I wanted to pick my own, I feel like you should be able to, yeah, okay. So if you want to pick your own, you can either go through the folders that they've suggested for you, or you can again go to your desktop, your backgrounds, and click on your Zoom background if you really wanted to, and select that as your screensaver. And as you can see, it automatically changes. There's nothing that you need to do in order to save it. If you want to remove it later, you can always press the minus button. So plus to add, minus to remove, and then to go back to the default, you would just click on one of the defaults under desktop pictures. So I think that's all I wanted to cover for Mac.